This is the Dogecoin 1 month overview reading for the month of January 2024. It's currently November 27th, 2023, 9:01 p.m. Eastern Time. Dogecoin at the time of this reading is currently 0.07844, just under 8 cents USD. The shuffle video for the January reading for Dogecoin was created on October 25th, 2023 at 2:23 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video right here. So the overall theme and behavior for Dogecoin in January is very mixed. Like many of these stocks and crypto that I'm seeing in January readings, we've got some highs and lows, like back and forth going on. There's a lot of trade opportunities specifically like in the month of January for Dogecoin. It's an auspicious moment to trade, or there's several auspicious moments to trade. It looks like they may be involved in sharp declines. This trade opportunity is crossed with the beginning of a rally or the commencement of like a multi-day rally with at least one notable move higher. Behavior around the highest high for the month of January, an important support level highlighted on a 1-year chart scale minimum at the highest high. So it'll be an important price level, and we'll do sideways rotation there. Important on a 1-year chart scale, and we'll do sideways rotation there, attempting to establish support. But being that it's in the high significator position, it obviously won't hold. And the behavior around the lowest low, it looks like the lowest low for the month may be within close time proximity to the highest high for the month. It's possible. You could read it that way because of the correlation, the cross-reading correlation here. But behavior out of the lowest low will be an unexpected move higher. There'll probably be a lot of like overwhelming headwinds. Either that or really significantly negative looking chart behavior that would imply further to go on the downside. But instead we move higher in the face of all of that out of the low. And before we go any further and get into the day-by-day chart behavior as well as the prominent highs and lows and trades and all that stuff, I want to make sure everybody's aware the whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. And we do that with your help by following the rule of karma for the channel. Now, the rule of karma for the channel is the unwritten agreement between the universe and anybody utilizing this information for personal gain. The universe has no problem with people utilizing this information for personal gain as long as they are simultaneously helping other people. And so you fulfill that through the rule of karma. 5% of the profits from every profitable trade should be donated forward here on our resources tab of our website, Tarot Traders. Should be donated forward to one of these charities here. Just click here and donate. Super easy. And then 5% of the profit should be donated back to the channel here at one of these links. That leaves you with 90% of the money. Make sure to spend that money out of love. As long as you do that, my friends, the universe is going to send it back to you tenfold for being an angel investor of the channel. Neglect to follow through on the rule of karma, which is the agreement with the channel and the universe and yourself, then the universe is going to neglect to hold up its end of the agreement as well. So first off, before we get rolling, I want everybody to understand that we have the dates of the month one by one numbered here from left to right. Each card represents about 1 day of time, but the card's energy will not line up perfectly in some cases with 1 day of time, so we have to make sure that we give it plus or minus 1 day of wiggle room. In some very rare cases it's 2, but I consider that a bad reading. The sequence of events always remains accurate, even if we're off by a day here or there. So on the first, we have a halting of a bullish trend marked by a sharp decline through key support. It looks like that bullish trend probably goes to a prominent peak or crest on the cusp of the first second, and then we have a notable decline. There's a universal hexagram energy there, and a ace of discs, so a notable decline to a support level there. A lot of price change to the downside, and then there's most likely another prominent peak towards the end of the day as well. So a lot of back and forth going on, and there's 3 trade opportunities on the second that we'll talk about in more detail in the paid version. On the third, we have a notable decline. So that second peak around the cusp of the second third, there'll be a notable move into it after a sharp decline, and then it looks like another sharp decline on the third, another prominent peak on the fourth. So some real back and forth going on. There's actually like a prominent trough early in the day on the fourth, a prominent peak on the fourth, and then a sharp decline on the fifth, another universal hexagram decline, which will happen in the midst of a pop and drop on the fifth. There's an important price level highlighted here on the 6th, 7th, which may really be important on like the scale of like a multi-year scale, because what I'm seeing in the multi-year reading, which I'll talk about in more detail in the paid version, that and combine that with the Emperor card as the high significator, this is probably a really important price level here on the 6th. And it looks like we break through it on the 7th, at least momentarily creating another prominent high for the month, standing out on a 1-month chart. And then we break back down. And then on the 8th, we have another move higher through that same price level, followed by a full retracement of that move back down through it, creating like a capital A in the English language. We have quite a few trade opportunities. There's trade opportunities on the 4th, 5th, the trade opportunities on the 7th, 8th, and then there's trade opportunity here on the 9th. We have a period of sideways rotation at a prominent trough on a 1-month chart scale, and then a big move out of that trough, standing out on a 1-month chart scale. Trough on the cusp of the 9th, 10th as well, and a rally out of that one along a diagonal trend line, breaking through a horizontal resistance to meet a second resistance before pulling back to somewhere between those 2 price levels. And then it's very likely that we have that price level one more time on the 11th. It's very possible. And there's a prominent peak or crest around the 10th, 11th. We bump along resistance around the 12th sideways. There's a trade opportunity there. And then I'm not really seeing the same drop here that I saw in a lot of the other readings, somewhere around the 13th, but we do end up going into pretty significant troughs after this, the 13th. So it might be somewhere around the 11, 12, 13 that then we have a pretty sharp drop. Matter of fact, there's a sharp drop there on the 14th. It looks like it's on the 14th. It's that orange correlation. And we'll drop to an important technical price level on a 1-year chart scale there on the 15th. I might have left out sideways rotation on the 13th and with a prominent peak or crest there on the towards the end of the day. It'll stand out on a 1-month chart. Let's take a look and see how we're doing in November. Well, so we have this pushing the upper end of a range higher here on the 15th, out of a significant trough there on the 14th, pushing the upper end of a range higher. And that continues into, looks like the 17th. That's cross-reading congruency there. The preview card from early October. And then it's pretty significant decline there. So looks like we pretty much missed the high highest high, but we did have some of these prominent highs. One here on the 11th, 13th ends up being on, excuse me, on the 13th, 14th ends up being on the 11th. We had one for the 5th, ended up being on the 6th. Had one for the 2nd. There was one on the 2nd. We also had indications of a lowest low there with the cross-rating congruency. And then we had another lowest low on the 10th. Looks like it ended up being on the 9th. We had another lowest low here on the 14th or close, and it looks like we nailed that pretty well. And then there wasn't one on the 18th. I'd say this is probably one of our, this might be my worst November reading thus far. Most of the November readings are really solid. I don't like being off that many times by multiple days. That's not up to par by my standards. So I apologize for that, but we'll leave this up so that everybody knows. Even with that said, there's still a lot of information that is successfully extrapolated here, right? We got some of those, nailed the lowest lows pretty well. There's that Ace of Cups on the 21st. Depending on how you look on it, it was either the 21st or the 18th. And then there should be a sharp drop here tomorrow on the 28th. We had a prominent high on the 27th, which we nailed, a prominent high on the 23rd. 13th was that Ace of Wands. Yeah, see, the Ace of Wands was opportunity in the midst of a rally to open up a short position before that notable decline into a trough on the 14th. And I would have advised to hold that short position until the 21st. So that would have ended up being pretty solid. If you didn't close on the 14th, which would have been the wise play, you held it through all this, you would have ended up with a solid profit there as well. So overall, it's got a lot of good points to it, but we definitely missed the highs. Pretty outrageous in my opinion for how often we nail the highs. I don't see readings like this very often. Let's get back into it. All right, so end of the day on the 15th is an important trough that we have a big move to the upside standing out on a 1 month chart. Move continues on the 16th, trade opportunity and a breakout. Brief peak on the 17th, followed by a decline through multiple support levels that continues into the 18th, possibly even into the 19th, where we revisit a support level at a trough early in the day on the 19th. Opportunity there, and then erratic behavior around the 20th, back and forth through the same price level. In the midst of that erratic behavior, we revisit a crest that was recently a past opportunity. There's a resistance level highlighted on the 21st that's important on a multi-day scale, and a lot of price change around it, allowing and volatility, allowing for one to play both directions in the market, not at the exact same time, but surrounding that resistance level, like first to the downside and then to the upside, or the other way around. A lot of volatility on the 22nd, and also a prominent trough on the 21st I might have left out. An important range on the 23rd is highlighted, looks like near a peak or crest at the end of the day. Notable reversal on a multi-day scale that'll stand out on the 24th. A prominent peak on the 25th that forms when we have a sideways rotation and then a big move higher followed by more sideways rotation. And then we have a rally into a resistance level on the 26th that we then decline from with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down. However, on the 27th, we push the upper end of a range higher on a multi-day scale, probably taking us to prominent peaks and crests there, taking us to prominent peaks there as well. And there's also a sharp drop off of that prominent peak, a U-shaped dip on the 28th with a peak at the end of the day or on the cusp of the 28th, 29th, and then a notable decline on the 29th. So it looks like there's probably a really notable reversal on the 29th as well, and a lot of price change covered, like one of those like out of nowhere spikes or out of nowhere drops. It looks like it's like to the upside first and then to the downside, and we have notable decline off of a peak on the 30th, off of a prominent peak. On the 31st, we have an unexpected move higher out of a decline and a prominent trough. The sneak preview for February is a period of sideways, a decline to and through support on a multi-day scale to meet a second support, and then we rotate sideways along that support. We'll talk about February a little bit more in more detail in the paid version, and that's Dogecoin for January. Please, if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Much appreciation to everybody for all your support, and as always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You know what to do. You know where to go. Blessings to all my angel investors. By the way, we're going to be announcing the Discord channel, or we're going to be sending out invites, I should say, private invites to our repeated angel investors, people that repeatedly do angel rule of karma donations, I should say. Those are our angel investors. We're going to send them an invite to a private Discord that we're going to start here at the end of the year, and only angel investors will be a part of that Discord. So look out for that if you're one of those angel investors, and if you're not, my friend, the universe will shut you off very fast. You better follow that rule of karma before it's too late. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned if you got the paid version. All right, guys, so from a multi-year standpoint, it looks like we're kind of coming out of this sideways rotation, Ace of Discs opportunity. This might have been the abundance card here for 2023. This move higher and then a full retracement. It's possible, but usually the abundance card is going to be like a new high or an all-time high. So it's possible that we haven't seen the real move yet, and that we have this trough at the end of the year in 2023 before this prominent move higher, and then a full retracement of that move back down. Whoa. Okay, so I just did. Do we see the same all-time high in 2024, i.e. this like 74 cents range? And then I did it like to be certain, because at first I was kind of unclear. So to be certain, I threw down 3 cards, and usually you'll do like 2. If 2 are like yes and 1 is no, you go with yes. They were like affirmative, all 3 yeses, and not only that. That's so significant. Those are significant cards in the multi-year scale. So we probably see that same price level, that 74 cents price level there in 2024. Well, as far as highest highs go, there's a highest high very early in the month. It's hard to say if it's going to be here around the 2nd, 3rd, or if it's here. I think it's probably here around the 6th, 7th. It may be the same high more than once, but there's a sharp drop between them. I'd probably lean with the 6th, 7th here, probably the 6th, but I'm leaning towards that. It could be here, or it could be the revisiting of them. And then we have pretty significant highs at the end of the month. We push the upper end of a range higher there. In a lot of the January readings, it looks like we may come back to highest highs for the month towards the end of the month, so it's possible. There's some indications of a highest high here around the 25th, 26th, 27th. If I had to pick out of all of them, though, I would go with this right here, right? And then we might revisit it on the 11th as well. That's a possibility. As far as the lowest lows, probably a sharp drop here on the 18th into lowest lows, and then it's possible that we're revisiting them somewhere around the 21st, 22nd, and maybe even one more time after these like prominent highs. It's kind of like back and forth, like chaotic behavior going on here in the very end of January. So what I would look for is a highest. I would probably open up a partial short here at highest highs on the 2nd, add to that partial short on the 4th if there's opportunity. If there's a really significant opportunity to sell for like a good profit here on the 4th or the 5th, I would take it. Otherwise, I would add to that short on the 6th, 7th, and I would look to close it on the 18th, 19th. You might be able to close it on the 9th. Always go with the earliest you can close it. So if you get a good profit here on the 9th, I'd say take it. A bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush. If we see the same highs on the 11th, 12th, I would say open up a short again, and you could probably close that short on the 14th, 15th, if not on the 18th, 19th. There aren't any really like relevant trades on a multi-month standpoint here, but that death card does indicate a prominent trough, if not a lowest low thus far. And then we go into highest highs thus far. I'm seeing that in a lot of the readings, guys. On the 24th, if we reach highest highs again, or like we have really prominent highs here, I would open up a partial short again. And then if we push the upper end of a range higher there on the 27th, meaning that we go higher, I would add to and complete that short position in anticipation of a pretty significant drop here on the 29th, 30th, where I would close it. And from like a multi-day, like multi-month swing trade, I should say, around the 18th, 19th, you could open a partial long. And then I would add to that on the 29th if it seems like a reasonable opportunity, with the intent to close here. Man, I did this 2024 reading for Doge so long ago. Some of these anchors I don't even use anymore. My God, it was done June 27th, 2023. There's also a day trade on the 2nd where you could open up a short early in the day and close it after a sharp drop. You could probably then open up a long and close that at the beginning of the day, around the cusp of the 2nd, 3rd. Those are really the best trades for Doge in January 2024. As far as the Dogecoin's performance comparatively to Bitcoin, it looks like the overall performance of Bitcoin compared to Dogecoin, they have roughly the same. Looks like it's roughly the same performance throughout the month of January 2024. And that's Bitcoin for January 2024, my friends. Thank you so much for supporting the channel with the paid version. Much love and appreciation goes out to you. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You know where to go. You know what to do. I'll see you guys on the next one. Blessings to all my angel investors.